Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Josh with Desert Gardens Homestead. Wanted to bring you out to the garden today on my north-facing wall and just show you the abundance that is growing here in the Sonoran Desert. I wanted to show you also what I do with these overgrowth areas in this late summer and how I recycle it all back in to make fertility. Hang with me. So part of natural farming is planting species that you make use of to fertilize and to mulch. And so earlier this spring, I used this cardoon as a heavy chop and drop and mulch in this area. And now in the fall time, I will go ahead and use this spiderwort, which is my living mulch. And this spiderwort has taken hold within this entire north-facing wall and has played a great benefit in just making the soil temperature nice and even, producing nice cool temperatures in the heat of the day, as well as warmth in the cool of the night. And it adds an excellent microclimate to this area, increasing the humidity for the bananas. And now I can also use it as a mass chop and drop to do my fall fertilization. Now, spiderwort just makes a fantastic living mulch. It competes very nicely with the Bermuda grass, and it actually overtakes mint. So it's just a fabulous living mulch here in the desert. As you can see, I have a rose bush trying to emerge from it, as well as a loquat over here, which is just emerging out of the spiderwort. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop all this down. I'm gonna allow the loquat, and I've got an Nanking cherry over there as well, a rose bush, and a couple other odds and ends that will get a nice peak of sun now that the temperatures are gonna start cooling down. And so the first order of business for me today is to tackle this mullein. This is past its prime, second year. It sent up a beautiful, beautiful head of flowers, and now these have all turned into seeds. So I want to go ahead and pull these off the plant, and I'm going to go ahead and put them in an old pickle jar that I've cleaned and preserve them for next spring. This big head here, I might just go ahead and break apart and see if I could just reseed this area. This is gonna just be a bountiful amount of mullein seeds. If anybody is in need of any mullein seeds, comment down below. Okay, my mullein is now fully harvested. I have a good half gallon full of these seeds. So at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and tear the plant down. And actually, I have my machete. I'll just go ahead and chop and drop it and put it right on the ground. So often in the gardening community, I hear that if you allow any native species to come up and take hold within your landscape or within your gardens, they will suck all the nutrients and moisture out of everything else and just make it difficult to grow. Well, that's exactly what I've done here, my friends. I've just allowed nature to take hold. Yes, I put some plants here, but I've just allowed them to grow wildly and all together and to form their own little microclimate and ecosystem here. I have done nothing outside of chop and drop and just throwing organic material on the ground as fertilizer for everything growing here in this particular part of the garden. And so that just goes to show you that if you practice permaculture techniques along with natural farming and you allow nature to do what nature does best, you can have a thriving ecosystem with very little intervention, and you can just reap the benefits. And why fight against nature? Why work against it to the techniques of man when you can allow nature to do what it does best, which is grow, and then you can use, like such as this spiderwort, you can use this as chop and drop. And so that's what I did in the spring. I did a heavy chop and drop. I also mass fertilize with my weed whacker with the Bermuda grass that grows. So everything that grows here that's a native species, I chop down and I feed everything else. And that's how this is fertilized. And that's how I'm making excellent, excellent soil here. Soil of so top quality that it's just phenomenal. And it's all, done on its own. There was nothing that I did besides encourage it to do what it would do naturally. The spiderwort has played its role, and now it's time to play its second role, which is chop and drop. And this stuff is just so easy to chop and drop. You just simply pull, and it just comes right out. just like mint, just pulls very easily and readily. And I'll just show you the biomass that can just be made so easily, you know, just on its own. And so this is just very useful stuff in the garden. And it's, you know, it's a very critical aspect here in my garden. So I'll just simply go ahead and just start pulling out this spiderwort, and I'll put it into a large pile, and I'll just see how much biomaterial, biomass that I can accumulate, this green manure. And then once I have it all pulled and accumulated, I'll just go ahead and lay it throughout the entire area and around certain plants that I really want to fertilize and help the surrounding soil. So just hang with me here, and I'll bring you right back as soon as I've got it all pulled. I also wanted to share that contrary to custom norms and teachings that everything must be tightly kept and manicured for something to take off and thrive, I just want to show you the exact opposite. I would like to show you how natural competition made this loquat grow probably about 3 times faster than normal. And so this loquat was completely surrounded by the spiderwort. As you possibly remember that I said that the loquat was emerging from the spiderwort. I went ahead and cleaned right around this loquat. This is a Vista white loquat, and this is a propagation from a tree in another part of the yard. And this is one of the slower growing loquats that I have at that. And right next door, I have a champagne. And this is one of the more vigorous growing loquats that I have. And this one was not surrounded by the spiderwort. It does have a little bit of Bermuda grass around it, but it was really easy for me to keep that trimmed up. So it really didn't have a whole lot of competition or pressure, whereas the one right next door did. And they were both planted at the same time, and they were both about the same size. This one grew very little. This whole portion here is new. But the other portion, as you can see, kind of fell backwards, and so I'm just allowing that to grow horizontally. So it's really not doing a whole lot as of yet, which is pretty typical. But this one, with the competition, with the spiderwort, and now this one is reaching heights of about 4 feet tall. And so you can just see that competition made this guy fight for his life to emerge, and it became a much stronger and healthier plant. And let's just take a look at the base of this 4-foot loquat tree now that I have it cleared out of all the spiderwort. Let's just take a look at the organic material on the ground. And as you can see, it's just completely loaded. From prior chop and drops, you can see. Let's just dig down a little bit here. And let's see what we've got. Look at that soil. Just phenomenal. Just life. I'm not even going to dig into the soil, but I just exposed the soil layer. You can see just traces of biochar. You had the little roly-poly. Look at how dark and healthy that soil is. That is just phenomenal. You can see the hyphae. Humus is just jam-packed. And that's no intervention, no till. This is just throwing organic material on the ground over the course of many years and just adding to it. I've hardly ever exposed the soil layer here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cover it all back up and just go to show you that it is a jungle right up here. And I just allow it all to take hold. That's some Cape honeysuckle that I've planted for the hummingbirds. I have some blackberries growing through here, all kinds of comfrey. I have my Texas Rangers, bananas, you name it, it's growing in here. Onions, walking onions, and you know, the cherries. And so, but this type of gardening is not for the faint-hearted. You have to be able to tolerate, you know, controlled chaos. But if you are comfortable with that type of gardening, I highly encourage you to look into natural farming, because I do not fertilize this area at all. It got 0 JADM. All it got was the chop and drop and just various organic material like coffee grounds that I'll bring out and I'll just toss out. But it's not any directed fertilization, and you cannot tell that anything's deficient here. Actually, everything is thriving. Now, after just a couple minutes, I got 2 really large piles. I've got one here and another one right here. So what I will do is I will just go ahead and target chop and drop. Definitely want some around the bananas, especially the fruiting one right here. And so I'll just go ahead and throw it around. But just take a look at the difference here. This is all cleaned out. There's the Nanking cherry right up in front with a rose bush right behind. I've got some comfrey, and that's another cardoon. And so now without the spiderwort, it will allow the sun to come in and help out some of these smaller plants that were just more or less hibernating within the spiderwort. But here in the desert, we still have 3 months of good growing season. And so now that the temps will be lowering down, these plants will be able to come out and thrive and continue the process. So once again, I just wanted to share this with you and just show my techniques with natural farming and just show you one example up here up front that I have not fertilized, and just take a look at how healthy it is. So I certainly appreciate you stopping in and checking out this video as well as this channel. If you did find anything of value or of use in the video today, I would certainly appreciate you smashing that like button, as well as subscribing and sharing this video, as well as other videos if you haven't done so already, with others that you know that might like these videos. So once again, thanks for stopping in and checking us out, and have a great and amazing day.